Resident Evil Emerald City Chronicles Ouroboros Ball Part 1 by J.M. Wesley. Though he had been scared of the dark as a young kid, it was not what scared him tonight. It was not the strange noises that came from the building over as well, nor was it the quietness. He shook and held back sobs as tears gently rolled off of his cheeks, tears of sadness, hurt, and just a bit of anger. They stained his pillow in dark spots that would come out a few hours later from evaporation. No, it was the thoughts that were reverberating through his mind that truly scared him. Thoughts of suicide, death, hurting himself, hurting others. It truly scared him, as he had never thought like this about anyone but his most bitter enemies, and the people he was thinking about hurting were not his enemies, rather, they were his best friends. Although a thought passed of hurting someone who was already dead. He exerted a shaky breath before swinging his feet over the edge of the bed and stumbling to the bathroom, working to turn on the light. When the light was on, he turned on the cold water immediately and let it fill the sink a bit, looking into the mirror a moment and seeing how much of a mess he was. He was not as bad as he thought. He shook his head and splashed the bone-chilling water into his face, shivering happily at the painful pleasure it brought. He was fully awake now, ready to go out. If he was not in such emotional pain, he would be anyway. He then just planted his face into the sink a few seconds until he ran out of breath, then jumped back, spitting and laughing a little when he dabbed his face with a towel hanging from the back of the door. He was still chuckling when he walked back into the dorm room, pulling out his Desert Eagle and placing it on the nightstand. As he set the navy blue and gold handgun down, he found himself looking at a picture. It was a picture from 4 years ago, their senior year, before the town had gone to hell. About a month before, actually. They had taken off school to go back to their hometown for a fair, and the boy had amazingly gotten Sarah and Brody to agree with a pose he wanted for a picture. It wasn't anything bad, just Sarah in the middle, her arms draped over the boy's shoulders, though she had been quite adamant at first about not doing it, as she said it would make her look like she was dating the two boys. He had looked at the picture before to cheer him up, but now he was looking at it a different way. One of loathing of the other two in the picture. He grabbed the wood frame softly and stared at it for a few long moments before he clenched it tightly, spun, and threw it at the door, the glass shattering into hundreds of pieces, slashing the photograph into a few large pieces. He stared at the damage, smirking as he walked over the pile of glass and wood, raising his foot up and stomping on it. He turned around and walked to his nightstand, pulling open the drawer and drawing out a knife. It was his favorite knife, a knife that he had used to kill 4 years ago. He had put somebody infected to rest with this knife. He could still see the blood where he had splattered the blade when he had killed Chris, the kid he had absolutely hated during that time period. Now he was going to use it differently. He spun it in his hand twice, then stopped and pressed it gently to the back of his left forearm, biting his lip as blood started slowly seeping out of the wound he just made. He removed the blade and pressed it down again, about an inch from where the last cut was, and again, an inch from that one. He turned the blade vertically across the cuts, pressing it down and watching more blood come out and start to slide down the sides of his arm. He was done. He knew it would kill him if he did much more, and though he felt like dying, he did not want to. Tonight, anyway. "Good night, Jane," a voice outside. A voice belonging to his best friend, Kelsey, was outside his door. He looked at the bathroom and was about to run for it, but he realized it was too late as he saw the doorknob turn, watched the door open, and saw Kelsey walk in, smiling. But that smile faded as soon as she saw his bleeding arm and the bloody blade in his hand.